Satmulatu. I'm affiliated with the Department of Electrical and Computer Engineering of Addis Ababa Science and Technology, which is found in the southern outskirts of Addis Ababa. And I'm the current president of Internet Society Ethiopia Chapter. So the chapter, the Ethiopian chapter, Internet Society Ethiopia Chapter, is running under the auspices of global ISOC, which is a local CSO, non-profit organization, chartered in 2020 in Ethiopia under the Ethiopian Civil Service Organization agency. So currently we have around 450 class members with diversified backgrounds from different walks of life. And we are open for everyone to join us and push forward the global and local internet issues. So we primarily work on creating a safer, secure, and inclusive internet for all Ethiopians at the local context. Then we have some housekeeping rules, which Mr. Henok will share us so that we can abide. And I will urge everyone here who are not member of the Internet Society to join us through the links we are going to share. And we will have, so many social media platforms for you to follow us, to contribute. So today we are here in this webinar to discuss about digital parenting, which simply refers to, how we guide and support children in their use of digital technologies. So today, which is the digital age where children are exposed to the digital world at the very early age, they need to be well guided and safely introduced. So how to do that and what resources and tools are there is not very much known by many parents. So as a parent, I have first-hand experience on such abnormal early age introduction of these digital tools and gadgets. And as a professional at the same time, I know that the internet has so many opportunities, yes, but it has got so many challenges, not only for children, but adults too. So taking advantage of the International Safer Internet Day, or month, we are commemorating at the Internet Society globally. We organized this seminar in collaboration with our colleagues and friends globally. So we are going to discuss typical issues in digital parenting. Who are the key players in this area, in the child online experiences, and what are the child online safety, bullying, abuse, and exploitation issues, which we have to know, and what are the different things we can do about it. So I will introduce the presenters. We initially have three presenters. Mr. Tewodros Worku from the Ministry of Women and Social Affairs of the government of Ethiopia, who is working in child protection case management system. He is a system admin in this platform. So he has some personal issues, so he apologized for his absence. Then we have Tewodros Dizinko, if I correctly spell your name. So she is affiliated with the Faculty of Journalism and Media Studies of Ghana Institute of Journalism. She describes herself as child safety enthusiast. Then she is currently the graduate research assistant at Kent State University of the USA. So she will present about responsible digital parenting. Then Ms. Jennifer Kaberi, she is an experienced child development specialist with strong background on child development, including but not limited to child protection, child advocacy, early child development, media tech and technology for children. She also worked as a member of the technical group on African Union level, Child Online Safety Media Law. She was a task force member in this technical group. She's also the founder and CEO of Toto News, which is a digital platform leveraging on technology to improve children's lives. So we highly appreciate your contributions here, Jennifer and Tewodros. So now I will invite Jennifer Kaberi to present her presentation, which is Players, a Family Guide to Digital World. Please, Mr. Jennifer, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Tewodros, for Asrat, for this opportunity to be able to speak. I was trying to remember my Amharic, and it's all disappeared when I joined this meeting. So please do tell me how to say hello in Amharic. I've forgotten my Amharic. So my name is Jennifer. I am a child development specialist, but I'm focusing on children in the digital age. So my presentation is it's out of a research that I did when I was fellow at Harvard University, and it's focusing on how can we help parents to be more sensitive to the digital world, because we are not going to stop children from being in the digital world. That's a lie. That's a huge lie. You can't tell children, oh, don't stop being in the digital world. That's a lie. It's not work. It's going to backfire on us. So instead of that, let's work with parents to be able to support their children. So my presentation, it's research-based, a lot of research that has gone through. It's a book. I'm working on a book. I need to finish it. So it's a book I'm working on that I'm hoping to release it by the end of the year on digital parenting. It's just a guide to help parents to be able to support their children. Let me know if you're seeing my screen.
Yes.
You can see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, oops. Sorry about that. Please let me know when it comes on. Okay, again, I think Asrat has already done an amazing job doing my intro. That's me. So it's a guide. So I'm going to start very quickly with a question. This is a question because I want to know from the audience, what was your favorite game when you're growing up? What did you play when you're growing up? Just on the chat very quickly. I want to see on the chat. What did you play? Football? Thank you. Soccer? Someone else? I think football is very popular. In soccer, any other one? Any other game? Soccer, hide and seek, Ludo. Any other one? Football, reading, hide and seek, reading stories. Reading stories, isn't it a game? And we all agree that play was an integral part of our lives when we were growing up as children. Okay, Monopoly, I can see them. Keep them coming. This presentation is very interactive. So play is a very integral part. But what we don't, probably most of us who know play, we were not taught by anybody to play. We just found play and we continue doing it. And this is because the way play happens in different levels. So this is what we call the ecosystem of a child. And it starts from the child themselves, how the child looks at themselves, and then it goes to family, education, sibling, caregivers, and it goes to the mass media, parents, family, friends, the parents, and then to the bigger, larger part of like policies and government and climate and stuff. So this is connected to the child. And if you look at play, like when you're games, for example, you're watching African Cup of Nations or you're watching World Cup, and World Cup influences how you look at football as a child, okay? Or how you're going to play with your friends, your peers, which is part of the ecosystem, okay? So I'm going to skip this one because I want us to get into. So, and play plays different roles, okay? It helps children to build muscles, and it teaches environment, and you interact with the different levels in the ecosystem of the child, okay? And play has 5 distinct spaces, okay? During play, children role play, you're hide and seek, you are the finder, you're the seeker. Okay, I don't know if you guys in Ethiopia, you used to have like playing home, like house play when one is a daddy or one is a mommy, or you're a child, okay, or robber and police and robber, or one is a police officer. So you role play, and during that role playing, you're also learning. There's some lesson as a child you're learning. There's some things that you're learning as a child. The other thing is chances. During play, children take chances. You're taking a risk. Okay, it's my turn. I'm going to be the seeker. You're going to be the hider, or you're going to be the father this time. You're going to be the mother that side. So we give other chances to be able to do that, and then we escape reality. I don't know, when you're playing football, you forget about life and all the troubles. If you did not take breakfast, you go outside and play with your friends, and you forget breakfast, lunch, and by the time you're going home, it's dinner, and they're thinking, why am I so hungry? It's because you have not eaten the whole day, because you are playing. Okay, how many, can I see thumbs up, used to do that? You just get out of the house and you're busy playing and you forget about everything. Let me see thumbs up. I can't see thumbs up. Okay, are there thumbs up? You just play and you forget about life. Okay, yes, I can see thumbs up coming up. Yes, so it's the same. So play makes you forget your troubles. Okay, and then finally competition. Okay, and it's not a competition for children. It's not in a bad way. It's a competition because I'm the first one this time. Next time I'm going to be and because you're the second one, you work so hard to be the first one. It's not like a bad competition. It's a competition that is internally you, but it's not a bad competition. And this is how play is. Okay, this is how I believe in God. I hope people will understand. This is how God created. These were created things in our head, in us, with these things according to on play. But the playground now looks like this. You remember the cute playground? This one. Let me just go back. Ooh. Cute background playground. This is to be very cute. We all know. We all know whose role is what. We all know this is happening. This is the cute background, and then this is what are they. But now the playground looks like this, where remember the ecosystem of the child, where everybody, there's a role for every group. But now things have changed. What used to be private has become public. What used to be public it's become private. Okay, so where a child using their phone, they can go inside their bedroom and they can go online, okay, and show their linens. And I remember when I was growing up, my parents, by the time you bring your friend to your room, my friend, if they know you bring your friend to your room, for us, and I think many African countries, we don't have specific bedrooms for you. You don't have your own bedroom. Probably your room you're sharing with your siblings, okay? So your parents will not allow you to bring a friend in your room, okay? But now with a phone, you bring the whole world, okay? Just with your phone, you bring the whole. So the child ecosystem has been mixed up. It's now changed where the policy is affecting a child in their home, okay? Where a child is being affected by someone in the US, in Arizona, okay? Or someone from India is communicating with your child in their room, or you as a child is, your child has interaction beyond the ecosystem. You remember the ecosystem where just immediate family members and the peers, but now that is very fluid, okay? Who are your friends, okay? I just want to see on the chat how many friends you have on TikTok and on Facebook and on Instagram, okay? So you have friends who you have never seen or you've never interacted with. You have people who know you more than your own parents or more than your own siblings, okay? So the playground has really been mixed up. And this is how now it looks like. Remember Mimic? All these parts? Now this is how they look like, okay? Roll, okay, there's filters. Today I want to look like Rihanna, okay? Or tomorrow I want to look like John Cena, okay? So because the child wants to look like, they're mimicking, instead of mimicking daddy, mommy, or their friends, then they're mimicking people outside their ecosystem. They're mimicking And this is their real ecosystem. They want to look like Rihanna. They want to look like John Cena. They want to look like some cartoon character. Okay, what do? They do filters for their social media platforms. And remember, this has been created. It's something that is internally asked. Okay, chances. Okay, you take chance. Okay, have as many friends as possible. Have as many followers as possible. Have as many subscribers as possible. People who are following you. Okay, and you're following them. Why do you follow them? Okay, you take that chance of following them. Okay, because it's internal. Okay, and then the trigger. We are swiping all our problems away. Okay, you sit on a phone thinking, I'm just going to read this email. I'm going to respond to this text. And by the time you are done, it's 2 hours down the line. Where did that time go? You started checking your Instagram, you started checking your TikTok, you're laughing on all those memes. And then you're maybe responding to someone on LinkedIn, okay? And time is gone, okay? You're escaping reality. You're escaping reality. And that's why like the studies show that a lot of children, especially when they're having difficulties at home or in school, they go to social media because that's where they can forget about their troubles. Okay, you forget, you escape reality. And then competition now has changed to how many followers do I have? How many likes do I have? How many people, it's like, who is seeing me? Okay, how much is my video attracting people? Okay, so the competition has changed. Okay. And this is what this is my theoretical framework. How it all happens. It starts with content, okay? How the content comes in different formats. It's not the videos that you guys are posting, okay? It is content that the child is consuming, the content that the child is associating with, okay? It all starts with content. So the content becomes a pathway to changing of conduct. Okay, there are four types of I think I've skipped that slide. There are four types of harm. There's conduct, contract, contact, and control and content. No, we added control for us. Conduct, contact, contract, and content. But content is the entry point. So content, your child will watch a violent movie and they'll start being violent. Okay? Or and then they'll start they start perpetrating that harm and it becomes a contingent harm. Okay? Someone will DM them or go to their messaging, and then what will happen? They'll start contacting someone. And what happens? They start sharing their data. And then your children become a contract. And let me just go a bit on the contract, because contract is not signing. Contract is like, do this for me, and I'm going to do a shout out for you, okay? Do this, and I'm going to make sure that you have 20,000 followers, okay? So it's a contract that is not the contract that we know, okay? Like, for example, it's not the contract but the contract that's happening with children, it's a contract, but it's not signed because they agree, follow me, I'll follow you back. Do this for me, and I'll do this. It's a contract that has to do with social media. And now the most looming, and that's why it's a cloud, not a part of it. It's raining now because it controls everything. It controls contract, because it shows you need to be friends with this one. Contract, it shows you be friends with this one. Conduct, it brings content that you don't want on your feed. It's AI, okay? Algorithms, okay? They are controlling all these things, enhancing them and making them real to our children, okay? So here, I don't want to go too much. Please take a screenshot if you can. Please because I'm not going to read everything. Content, as I said, is the key. It is the root of all the other harms. Okay. So every child, how you access it, how you get it. That's how. And then contact. Okay, who are they working with? Like play, there is contact play. But on social media, they are contacting the people outside their ecosystem, their immediate ecosystem. And then that content, it changes how this child's conduct. Content, it brings people they want to interact with, okay? And then, of course, social media is controlling, and algorithms and AI is controlling everything. Please take a screenshot. I did not read everything. So I already asked how much time, guys, you spend online. because this one is to make us think about our own social media. How much time do you spend online? Just be honest, people. I can see, be honest. I see. How much time do you spend online? How much? Okay, guys are not talking. Oh, you're not listening. Can you hear me?
Yes.
More than 5 hours. Oh, wow. 4, 16 hours. Dell. Okay. 3+ hours. Almost 8 hours. An average of 10 hours. 3+ hours. Okay. More than 20. Ooh, more than 28 hours a day. You have more than 24 hours in your, okay. 5 hours. Okay. Okay. 8 hours. Okay. So this is the amount of time that we spend online on average. Okay. So right now, this year, I think Africa will hit an average usage of 4.5 hours. Like if we can put all the hours on average in Africa, we spend 4.5 hours on social media. Okay. Which, according to psychologists, is not a good thing. That's called addiction because you're spending almost a quarter of your time on social media. Okay. That's what they call addiction. Okay. Which platforms? I would skip that because I don't have so much time. So to protect children, a lot of people, again, please take a screenshot because I'm not going to read everything. So for us to be, to protect children, people have come up with different school of thoughts. I've written a lot on this. If you go to my LinkedIn, I've expounded more on this. There are those ones who say, my child will never be on social media. See no evil, hear no evil. I do not want my child to be on social media. Okay, so they tell children, don't do this. But the problem with this is it will work for 0 to 3-year-olds and probably up to 6-year-olds. Okay, but as soon as this child goes to school and they start interacting with their friends, and then they realize there's something called the phone or the tablet, it becomes a challenge for you as a parent. Okay, and as they grow older, maybe when they go to grade 1, grade 2, they need to do computer science, online education, or they have been given assignment that they need to do research. It becomes more a problem. So your child really cannot be able to be offline. Okay, and they get to their tweens, that's 10, 11, 12-year-olds, they will not be able to stop. Okay, because now they'll start knowing about social media and their friends are telling them, please join Snapchat or TikTok, or I'm playing a game on Roblox. So please just come and play with me. So it becomes a challenge as the child grows older. It will work probably for the first 6 years. But after that, it becomes really challenging. And then there's a group that says, no, what's wrong with the technology? I'm going to give my phone to my 2-year-old. They will figure out. It's like, for me, the way I figured out, like, let them lose, let them play, let them have their. So, and the argument is, it's a tech world, let the child start early, okay? So the problem is this, early initiation technology is not good for children, especially 0 to 3-year-olds. And this is because of their development, their brains, they need to do stuff. They need to, like, with their hands, so that they can develop their muscles, their tiny muscles. They need to develop their brain. So it's for 0 to 3, it's not good to introduce technology, okay? And again, the children will feel that their parents don't care about their safety, okay? This is something that we've heard from children when their parents, they feel that their parents don't care. And then there's this one, leash, where, yes, I'll give you a phone, but I'm going to make sure that it has parental control. I'll control everything that you watch. You will not have a SIM card. You just have to, you will have a SIM card, and I'll give you a phone that is not smart. Okay, so there's that. And I think I'm a leash parent. I'm just being honest. My child, I have 2 children. One has a phone, the other one doesn't have. Her phone is controlled. I control everything, okay, on her phone. Okay. And then there's Oasis, which also I kind of try. The Oasis is, okay, social media is bad. It's horrible. It's not good. But let us create a platform for children only, okay, where they will not be able to interact with all the evil sides of social media. Okay. So they They just we create a platform, and we have quite a number of platforms. But the challenge is you be in that child be in that platform, but in reality there are other platforms, and their friends are on the other platforms. My friend is on TikTok. Why would I just limit myself to this platform here? Okay, so the thing is interoperability of technology, where your phone can be able to host 1,000,001 apps. Okay, so this becomes a challenge. Okay. And then there's a guardrail. The guardrails are those ones, let's say, okay, social media is not good, but we are going to put guardrails to protect our children. We are going to put safety features. We are going to put all these parental guidelines and all this. And then we are going to ensure that we are protecting our children. And then there's training wheels, which also I kind of support this one. Training wheels is let's train our children. Let's give our children skills. The way we teach our children to cross the road, let us teach our children, let us give them skills, okay? Let's give them skills on how to navigate the digital space, okay? As a parent, I'm hoping you're already seeing yourself, and because I would want to know which school of thought you are, and let's legalize it. Let's sue them, okay? Let's sue these people. Let's sue TikTok. Let's sue Facebook. Let's sue Snapchat. Roblox, Minecraft, these guys are not good. Let's sue them. So they say legalize everything, okay? Legalize everything. And these guys are very strong, and they have pushed a lot of stuff because they say legalize everything, okay? So that we can make sure that this design agenda is this and this. So let's legalize everything. So before I go on, I would want to know. I'm looking for my chart. I would want to know which school of thought are you as a parent? Which school of thought? Before I go to the next one. Okay, you those ones, my child, I'll give them a phone, let them do their thing. Okay, and no, my child will never get a phone until they are 18 years old. Okay, but you that parent, I'm never going to give my child. I'm going to put all these parental restrictions. Yes, it is their fault. Should know it is my phone. I'm just borrowing them. Leash, okay, let them loose, Solomon, Anybody else? Thank you so much. So, how do we reclaim play? You've seen how the play, I've shown you that it's jumbled, and how the different parents protect children. So but based on this, this is a suggestion as a parent, what you can be able to do, what you're calling reclaiming play. It has different aspects. It has PLAYER, players, okay? So play, P stands for personalized, L for loose parts, accountability, U, empower, righteousness, and then safety, okay? A safe environment, okay? So personalized, what does this mean? When you're protecting your child, again, remember, it has to go with the age. How you protect your 0 to 3-year-old is not the same way you protect your 13 to 17-year-old child online, okay? As I mentioned, 0 to 3-year-olds, they have issues. You'll see the next slide. And then child personality. It depends on the child personality. Different children, personalities, they consume or they interact with digital spaces differently, and then prepare their child, okay? I don't know what has happened. How different age groups play, okay? 0 to 3, they don't directly engage with the digital environment. It is you as a parent who does that, okay? Because you are tired and there's Cocomelon or there's Miss Rachel. So what do? You give your child a tablet, or you put them on TV, okay? They do not. And then the other thing, children do not have the capacity of taking photos and posting themselves on social media. So what happens? The parent, and the child, I am pregnant, even when your tummy is flat. month 1, month 2, month 3, month 3. As the child is growing in the tummy, the mother is posting on social media. Okay. During when they are born, they are posting. That child, when they are in the womb, they were not taking photos. It is you as a parent. Okay. So you, by the time they are 12-year-old, they are famous on social media. Why? Because you, as a parent, you're the one who was doing that. You're sharing. Okay. 4 to 6, again, the biggest percentage is the parent. You are the parent who is playing that role. You're the one who is giving them the gadget. You're the one who is opening them social media account. You're the one who is giving them. So the child is 30% and the 30% is screaming, oh, I want, oh, mommy, I want. Okay, because from 0 to 3, you already had introduced them to social media. Now it's 4 to 8, they can be able to ask. But the gadget is still yours. You're the one who can be able to operate it. So it is you. 9 to 12, here autonomy keeps kicking in. Okay. So the child is probably using it for digital space for schoolwork. Okay. So your role is to provide the gadget and to pay for the internet. Okay. But most of the other work is the parent, 50%. Okay. And then teenagers, it turns 70%. They control their social media. They're the ones who know who their friends are. They can block you as a parent, like my child did once. They can block you as a parent, and then they are everywhere. Okay. So I'm going to pause here. As a parent, don't feel as if you've already given up because you're not already parenting in this age. Okay. You still have to play a role. It's not too late. Even if your child is 16, turning 17, you still have a player to guide them. Okay. Understand their social media. Don't try to stop them. Try to understand their social media platform. If they tell them, mommy, follow me or don't follow me, try to find out what are they doing and try to be in their space so that you can be able to understand them. For 0 to 3, limit. Okay. Don't share your child photographs. If they're not going to be happy when they're 16. Okay. Those photos we take of our children crying and screaming and their faces are ugly, and then you put it, oh, my child this. Imagine when they're 16, they come across that photo. Will they be happy? Okay. Or you'll be sued. There's a child who has sued their parents because of posting their photos when they were younger. Are they going to sue you? Okay. And then personalities. We have different personalities. I'm not going to go into details, but how children and young people use the social media is according to their personality, depending on your personality. If you're an open person, you are the one person who goes to seek information and you talk about your work. Okay. And then there are those ones who are close. They are neurotics. They post all the time. They are commenting on everybody. They are liking. Okay. And then there are those people who are just trolls. Okay. And this is their personality. It's not that they don't like you, it's just their personality. They're just going to troll you. Okay. And they are hostile on social media. Okay. Extroverts. Okay. There are those ones, extroverts, they'll be always be talking their social media. They are posting their every event or every part of their life. Okay. And then there are those ones who will not post any, they just post their photos, but they will not be able to, post a caption. Okay. And then there are those ones they will not share anything negative. Okay. Okay. So when they're happy, they will share. But when they're not happy, they are not going to share. Okay. So then the L is loose parts. Loose parts is being able to go, the strategy you're starting with P, personalization. So those 3 slides, you are just going to understand your child personality. Loose parts is going into your child's context. Okay. Understanding your child's social media or digital it's called digital experience and the activities and character of your child. Okay. And then children are the expert. Try to learn from your child. Don't think because you are 30 or 40, you know more than your child. Trust me, your child knows about the digital space more than you. So sit down with your child, let them teach you. Let them teach you how to crop, how to add a filter. In the same, when you start doing that, they think, oh, my mom is interested in my world. So next time if something happens, they'll be more open to coming to you and tell mommy, I'm not happy about this. Or mommy, there's this thing that is happening on digital space I'm not happy about. Okay. And then be curious instead of fixing mentality. Oh, this is happening. No. Be be more cautious, okay? Instead of fixing, try to be curious and then make it a bonding and learning opportunity, okay? For example, let's say today what challenge is happening for a family challenge. For example, I am your mama. Can you do that challenge with you? Okay, so it may look like it's just a challenge, but for that child, they're excited. It's a bonding time with my parent. My parent is excited with my world. My parent is excited. So you provide those opportunities. Like for me with my children, we try to get time to watch a movie together. Okay, we choose and even if the electricity goes off, like the other day it happened, nobody is going to watch that movie if everybody is not there. So look for opportunities that you can be able to interact in the digital space with your child, okay? So that you're not letting your child do that by themselves. Take an opportunity. If it's Miss Rachel, sit down, watch with Miss Rachel, start doing, my name is, do together with your child. Don't let Miss Rachel parent your child. Sit down with your child and watch Miss Rachel together. Okay. If you watch Cocomelon, which I don't recommend, do it with your child. Okay. Accountability. Okay. Don't tell your child to do what you're not going to do. You're doing. Okay. If you're telling your child, oh, you're always on social media, you're spending so much time on social media, but what are you doing? Okay. Some of you have said 5 hours, 6 hours, but if your child spends even 30 minutes, you are on their case. Okay. And then follow online rules. If you're telling your child follow rules and you are the person who trolls people on social media and your child comes across your post, would they be happy? You're the troller. You're the one who's using foul language on social media. You're the one who is watching content that is not good. And you're telling your child, do not watch pornography. Do not watch this. But you're the one who's watching it. Okay? Ask others. Don't post your child's photo. If your child is in speaking age, 5, 6, ask them, Mommy, should I post this photo? Okay? Ask your child, can I post your photo? Ask permission. And then, including your child. Okay? As I said, ask your child to teach you their favorite digital safety, okay? And then come up with rules as a family, okay? That's accountability, which everybody follows, including you, okay? And then an agreement, okay? Where even me as a mom, I break those rules, you'll be punished the same way, okay? If we say we don't use phones when you're eating at the dining table or when you're dinner or lunch, whatever, and use your phone as a parent, what are the accountability measures? What's going to happen? Okay. I'm being told to finalize, so I want to do you. Okay. Nobody can ever replace you as a parent. Okay. No one, no technology will ever replace you. So you have to create time as a parent to have uninterrupted technology-free time. Okay, it can be, let's go for a walk, or let's just switch off our phone and we write, or we play a card game. Okay, let's go for running or biking or whatever. Okay, let's cook together. Okay, it's technology-free. Okay, and make it regularly. Maybe once a week, we are going to spend 2 hours as a family where we are not going to be online at all. Okay. And this is very important. Empower. Okay, as I said, there's no way we are going to remove children from the technology. But what you can do is empower them. Give them the skills that they need to navigate the digital space. Okay. I don't know about Ethiopia, but I know for us as in Total News, where I work, we do provide those opportunities where we help parents to give their children skills, okay, on how to navigate the digital space. Okay, so because as much as we'd want, we cannot remove them. But if they have the skills, they can be able to navigate it. It's the same when you send your child to school, you are sure they're going to come back. Why? Because you give them the skills of navigating from school from home to school and back. Okay, so the same way, let's teach our children on how to navigate the digital skills. And then for me, I use this. This is, you can call them values, whatever, but you have to have values as a family. Values are never replaced. You can never, values online are the same values offline. If you're taught your child, be nice, be kind, okay? Treat other people well, or treat other people the way you'd like to be treated. the same values those children have offline. You taught them since when they were growing up. I'm a believer in bring up your child in the way they should grow. If you bring them from that young age, when they go online, they're going to be the same. The other day, my daughter made me laugh. I was doing ChatGPT, and she goes, "Mommy, you should tell ChatGPT, please, me, I." I'm like, "It's a bot." I'm like, "No, mommy, you have to be nice. You have to be nice, just in case they take over the world." Okay. So what did I teach my child when they were growing? To use the word please. Okay. But now they're using the same skill to chat with ChatGPT. ChatGPT is an AI model. Okay. I don't think it cares on if you use the word please, but you see, the values I taught them when they were growing up, they're using it on technology. So it's the same thing. So have a values. Know what are your values as a family. Teach your children those values. Yet you may think, oh, they teach your world. They don't. Teach them. They're going to be reflected, and you will see the difference between a child who has values and how they post and how they interact on social media, and those ones who have not been taught values. Okay, and the content that they interact with is going to be very different. And a safe environment, and here I'm not talking about parental control and everything, is what have you created an environment in the house where your child can come to you? Okay, there's something my friend has come up. It's called the 5-finger safe circle. Okay, and this five finger is your child should have an older person who is not you, who they can go to if they need to talk to someone. A peer, this can be their friend, okay? And then they can be someone who is older than them, okay? It can be a cousin or an older sibling, okay? And then they can be as not old, but as am I forgetting? There are 5. I've said a parent, you as a parent, and then someone older who is not you, a sibling, okay? Or as someone who is older than them, a peer who is a friend, and then someone from the it's called what? If you are your spiritual or faith environment, who they can go to. So it's someone you're creating an environment. If you're not there, you are not there. There are other 4 people your child can go to, okay, for safety, and you should know who they are. Okay, and your child should know. Like you don't choose them for your child, but you should know who they are. Okay, and you should have a relationship with them. They can go like a peer. They can go to a peer and tell them this is happening, because research shows that children report to their peers more than they report to their family, to their parent. Okay, like I get to know a lot about what's happening with my child's school from my children. My child will say, "Oh, Nani's is doing this and this too to my brother." Okay, I will know that not because he reported, but because the sister came and told me. Okay, I think I'm done. So let us reclaim play. Okay, I have time, so let's play. Okay, again, I think I'm done. So here are resources. Please take a screenshot. Please take a screenshot. Please take a screenshot. Thank you. And that's me. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Jennifer. It is a very interesting presentation, and you have touched so many topics, ideas, concepts, which we are, especially parents, share and face every day. So we'll continue our discussion after Tewodros' presentation. So thank you very much. We'll discuss later. Tewodros, are you there? So
Yeah.
please, the floor is yours.
Perfect. Thank you. I do hope that you can all see my screen and can hear me quite well. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone on the call. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Tewodros Jineko. Currently a PhD student in the School of Journalism. And prior to that, I work as a full-time faculty with University of Media, Arts and Communication. I most of my work spend between looking at big data and online safety. I currently teach the encryption course with the Internet Society e-learning, where I explore some of the platforms that can be used both by children and grown up. Also looking through the digital harm that is online and how best to navigate it. I really would want to take the time as well to appreciate Jennifer for the earlier presentation. I think it set the ground for where I'm going, since most of my majority of all my presentation for today would be focusing more on the parents, and so it's handy that her presentation came actually ahead of mine to set the ground for that. So thank you so much, Jennifer. As well, I think now in 2025, we've seen the growth of technology. We've seen earlier from where we started with game and play to where technology took ground, to where social media is, and to where big data is now, where we have apps and we have virtual reality, we have robots, we have Internet of Things, and the harm it's going in, and it's never ending. As much as these technologies are coming in, we also have harms that come with it. So if you are very familiar, in February of last year, there have been news about the growing suicide rate among children, especially in the US. Because they are in love with a robot, or they're in love with a virtual reality that doesn't exist. We've also I think for me, the good thing, even though it still exists within Africa, one of the great things is, as Jennifer said earlier, the ability for parents to have much control, or at least to be able to have some level of control, especially if you grow up in a family where you can't afford certain luxuries, you don't get the luxury of a phone. So that helps. Or if your parent takes the phone away from you, there is nothing like you're going to sue your parent for taking the phone away from you. Or there's no legal established entity for a parent taking the phone away from you or trying to kind of protect you online. However, in other parts of the world, it's not as easy as it is. Like there are children that have mobile phone at an early stage and do not really have the media literacy skill to be able to do that as well. Also, so again, when I was putting together this presentation, I was looking through how edged the topic is and how we could take it through different angles. Like, technology in itself is good and bad. However, also the use of the technology itself will determine where you steer it towards. So, for example, if you give your child a phone, what type of phone do you give your child? What level of access do you give your child? How do you monitor your child? How do you build trust between you and your child? I remember I had my first mobile phone when I was in the university. And the reason why I didn't have it, I mean, because we couldn't afford it early. And I keep asking myself, if we were able to afford the phone, were my parents digitally literate enough to want to give it to me? Or like, is the reason for me using phone late was because we couldn't afford it, or that my parents knew what it meant for me to not be on the internet, and just talking about the early 2000s and things like that. So it's the goal for me here is to kind of provide or build up onto the earlier presentation some of the digital skills that parents could take, as well as making sure that they are able to have a good relation, or create a good space where their children could talk to them as well. Also, as I said earlier, on one hand, children being able to have access to devices could train them in a way, or could kind of teach them to bridge the digital gap. So again, we keep advocating for children, or especially girls, in STEM education. We keep asking younger children to be interested in robotics and ICT. In Ghana, for instance, there have been a robust training and advocacy for younger generations to get into STEM education at an early age, you know how to code and things like that. They can only do that when they are comfortable with the devices, where they are not afraid to type and they don't know what they're doing. It all starts from an early age. So again, for me personally, I do think that it goes beyond just the harm they face, but also how they learn it and how they are able to encompass all of those things as well. Why are we really focusing on parent, or why am I focusing on parent? Also, again, I believe that anytime we speak about child safety online, majority of the focus is on the children, which is valid actually, because they are the ones that we are looking out for. But then again, a child doesn't live in a silos. It lives with a parent or somebody who takes care of them, and so it's a two-way front. We've also heard about instances, or have seen, or perhaps have experienced it ourselves, where parents are busy working, and so they don't want the child to disturb them, and they just like give them an iPad or something to play with, and yeah, the child is hooked onto it like a dopamine, you know. And so I am really looking through the digital parenting matter, because I believe that if a child should be safe online, both the tech companies and then the parent play a role. It's a multi-stakeholder role that everybody plays. Is not just one person's role specifically. And again, apologies, as most of the stories or the case studies that I'm going to share based in the US, but also some of them are based in the continent as well. And I'm only sharing those because they have been real life situations identified and documented. And so it's something that you could easily find on the internet if you would want to read more onto that. But I do acknowledge that some of those challenges do exist. There are some that I practically know and have experienced and have dealt with in the African context. So last year, January of 2024, again, it was a global news, but when the US Senate called out 5 giant tech companies about child protection law and privacy, and that also birthed the issues about TikTok use and the content moderations and things like that. One of the major issues or challenges that were pointed out was how social media actually is destroying, for lack of better word, destroying children and their upbringing, and even creating a space where issues of sextortion and or suicide or things like that are really happening. And one of the key things that I pick up, which is the reason why I brought this up, was how fast the tech companies were unable to take responsibility for the platforms they create. So you hear Facebook saying, hey, we created Facebook as a social chatting platform. So if you want us to put a child safety or an age limit or content moderation keys there, we can't really do it because the platform would not be fun anymore. And so again, it means they know that the content of the platform they are creating has the tendency to harm children and younger people. And also, like, think about it. If your child is going to open a Facebook page and they ask the child, how old are you? And the child said 18, that is it. There's no other legal step to verify whether the child is actually 18 or not. They don't ask the child to scan their birth certificate. They don't ask the child to scan an ID card to prove that they are 18. They assume, or the tech companies assume, that it is the parents' job to guide them and to ensure that their children are safe online. But it's not just the parents' job. It's both the parents' job, the tech companies, the schools, everybody plays a good role. And again, in my community, Ghana, where I come from, we say a child is raised by a community. It's not raised by just one person. And bringing that into this setting, it is very important to kind of have that in mind as well. And also, again, we all know that children are exposed to cyberbullying. They are quick to give away information easily, especially again when they want likes, they want follow, and naturally just that they are naive. And for somebody that have spent so much time analyzing big data and social media platforms and ethics, I have seen how drastic TikTok in Africa is way different from TikTok in other part of the world, where again in North America and Europe, there's so much advocacy and laws and regulations for online safety. And tech companies are usually held accountable, or people easily sue them. So the content or the level of exposure given for those applications in those parts of the world is way different. You come to Africa, mostly. Again, you see somebody doing TikTok, get ready with me video in their bathroom, with visible information that can easily be used against them, with get ready with me almost naked bathing and videoing it and showing it and calling it content. I mean, such people have parents, but again, it's the drive, is the generational drive. If anyone on the call that was born in the 70s and the 60s or even the 90s, you should, or I'm assuming that the difference then is way different from now. Like belonging to this Gen Z and Gen Alpha, it's a new ball game that needs a new digital tactics, like the I think that it would need both an older version of child upbringing plus a newer version of a child upbringing, getting to understand how this generation works and how you can protect your child within this generation, and then also merges the 90s and the 80s way of upbringing into that era. It helps because also in terms of creating and building trust between parents, it has to be at a point where the child thinks that you understand them. Being able to understand helps. It's only so far, or you can only go far by having one way of upbringing where it's like you only listen to me, but I don't understand you. They will do it. They would hide it. You won't know, because they feel like, okay, I mean, you don't belong to my generation, you don't really understand, and things like that. And so again, for me, I'm looking through how parents can evolve in a way where they still maintain the traditional upbringing, as well as getting to understand what it means to be in this new era. Because again, whether we like it or not, it's a new era that we are all experiencing, where demonstrations and protests are held through social media, and it works way better than physically holding it, where children as early as even 8, 9, 10 are on TikTok and they're influencers, and they hold much power as compared to being in the physical world, or as a grown up with so much power as well. There's always the divide in as well. And of course, most parents should be exposed to digital literacy. We've spoken so much on media literacy and all form of literacy for children, but do we have organizations or individuals that are advocating for parental literacy as well, for them to really understand what is going on? My key objectives generally, which I have mentioned earlier, I mean, through my earlier part of the presentation, is really to ensure that parents understand what sort of literacy they need in 2025. What my parent needed, or how my parent brought me up, I doubt would fully 100% work if I'm bringing up my children in the future. I have, I'm the last born, just born way almost to the 2000s. But I see my nephews and nieces knowing so much. They introduced my mother to TikTok, and I'm still grabbing around it. My oldest nephew would, I think it's now 12 or something, but knows TikTok and create emails. Their school encourages them to use computers and things like that. And when I was discussing it with my brother, I was just remembering how we were brought up and how strict my mother was. Like, as Miss Jennifer said earlier, no phone on the table. It's like, if you want to make a call, use my phone, put it on speaker. What are you talking about? And there's so much, like even the computer at home, you are typing and you try to play a cartoon, and my dad is like, I know what you are doing. Like, I can see from my side of the phone that you are not on Google as you said you are, like the monitoring. As compared to this generation, the people born in 2005 and growing, and even like this, imagine a child being born in 2025 and seeing their future in 2030 or 2040. They would have to readjust. And as a parent, there has to be a conscious readjustment, I guess, from our side to learn to be straighter on them, but within their generation to enhance that as well. And also just like look through what are some of the best practices, like how do we monitor screen time and not make it look like you are spying on me as well, because again, in as much as we want to make sure they are safe, we also want to create an environment where it doesn't look like you are overly controlling me, so that they're able to communicate. They don't feel judged all the time and things like that. Also just like raise awareness on cybersecurity threats and online safety. The Internet Society Encryption Coalition is doing a great work. We've seen other organizations, advocacy institutions. We've seen individuals kind of like addressing such an issue and things like that. And also just generally for parents who are not very knowledgeable, who are not educated, and how do they know where exactly? I saw in the chat somebody was trying to help with how to put in the setting. We need to do a lot of that. We talk about settings, but we don't teach people how to do that. We just assume that they know. But my mom was not educated. She has never been to school before. I have been to the school to this level. If I want my mom to teach my child how to put parental control, or even for my mom to put her phone through that system so that none of my nephews use the phone to go onto a site, she doesn't know what it is. So it's also our job as institutions, as advocacy organizations, and even as individual advocates, to take the time to equip people practical knowledge, have a webinar or have a boot session and say, hey, like, take your phone, step 1, step 2, open this thing, open settings, step 3, go here, and make sure they do it. That's the only way they can learn it. Not every parent is educated enough to know it and to even know how to use it. They use the phone to make calls, to do basic things. Most of their children who are in school know how to use the phone more than the parents. So practically taking them through that would also help. And of course, as much as we are exploring parent, we also have to encourage institutions to have online resources, or individuals or advocacy group to have online resources and things like that. Now, as I'm getting closer to wrapping up, hopefully, one of the ways that, and again, this is not exhaustive, right? This is just a basic few step to managing screen time, because again, I do agree with the earlier presenter. It's very important to manage screen time. I used to be one of those people that spend almost all the day on the internet. And I guess it formed the basis of my interest in researching big data and how that is very addictive. You wonder why people take a phone, go to TikTok, and without thinking, the time is going. And they are on the internet for 6 hours, but they can read a book for an hour or 30 minutes. And that new addiction where you see somebody grumbling or angry because their phone is not fully charged or they forgot to charge it. Like, it's hard to understand, but also from somebody who have lived in that space for a while, I had to consciously make some changes. I had to put a certain restriction on my phone that allows for screen time where, like, okay, I told myself I'm going to spend just 1 hour a day on all the social media platforms that I'm on. And so set that in the system. Once 1 hour is done, the social media will just shut off. And there's no way I'm going to go back to it. Again, as I said earlier, it takes conscious time to manage the screen, especially from a child that is addicted, to the use of that platform. It takes a while for them to get used to that, but consciously setting that restriction and supporting your child as a parent, encouraging them and say, hey, it's possible. Maybe you spend a whole day on TikTok and Facebook and Instagram and X and all the other platforms that are out there. Why don't you just start by just spending 2 hours on the platform? It's just, if we treat it more like weaning somebody off a certain habit and replacing it with a good one, it helps. So you reduce it gradually and things like that. And again, as I said, it's a collaboration. It's both between the parents and then the child as well. We need to encourage an online-offline balance. You could easily read a book online, but also you could encourage your child to read that same book offline. There are some games, educational puzzles, Monopoly, and other like Minecraft games that you can play online that can be played offline as well. You could encourage such games to be played as well. Also, you could encourage children to use wellness tools. There are some apps on Apple Store, that are more educational content, that are more of meditation, that are more of knowledge quizzes and things like that. You could encourage your child to replace the other social media platforms with those new apps to kind of change, the whole dynamic. So I still have the apps, but this time around, I just have apps that allow me to learn a language like Duolingo, or I have an app that allows me to learn calculus, or I have an app that allows me to learn part of the human reproductive system, which is good for my school and things like that. Or even an app that allows me to learn how to drive, how to build a game, how to do other things. So you're not completely taking them off the internet, but you're introducing them to a newer tool. And remember, all of these things are done with time. Like you really can't just completely shut them off the internet. They would digitally rebel against you. You can take the phone away from them, but you can't take the social media platform away. They can go to a cafe, they go to school, their friends have phone, they have ways of having to get onto the internet. So it's healthier to kind of take them through the weaning process, just like how if you have a new baby, you take them to wean them off the milk, you take them through that process of, hey, like, first of all, reduce from 10 hours to say 2 hours. What about we mix some of the games and things, where we spend this time online doing this from 8, let's say from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. and then we switch to eating together and chatting and talking about the day and things like that. And I know, and then again, to what are some of the platforms that are healthy? And again, as a parent, we learn from what we see our parents do, or our friends and our peers around us do as well. Now, I am narrowing down a bit onto online safety and cyber threats because it has increased over the years. The statistics are crazy. Unfortunately, I didn't have it here, but I would definitely share as well. But it's something that Pew Research did a survey on child safety. The Encryption Coalition has a whole data set. The Encryption Coalition website has a lot of information on all of that. We've also heard again in the US, the UK, we've also heard in Africa about the Child Safety Act. In Ghana specifically, we have a broad data on child safety, which was produced by the Cybersecurity Awareness. So they are there, and children are again, experiences where children are scammed. We have experiences or situations where children are playing game in the metaverse, and somebody say, hey, the next stage to your game is to actually kill somebody in the physical world, and then you can get onto the next era, the next stage of the game, and they do that. So those threats exist. We've also had instances of sextortion where a child falls in love with somebody they don't know on the internet, plan their wedding, they tell them, send me a video, and it's all over the internet, and some of the cases even lead to death and suicide on that part. So again, whilst we talk and we know about this, one of the ways, which seems more like a cliche but also important, is to actually educate our children about this harm and scams and what it means and all of that. And again, just to reiterate that this education is both from the parent and from the schools and from stakeholder group. It's everybody doing it, because if you have a parent who is not very educated and does not really even know about the safety harms and the threats, they wouldn't be able to educate their children. So again, as I said earlier, it's a two-way thing. As we are training and educating the children about this harm, we need to also educate the parents and teach them how they can spot it when their child is being extorted. Mostly that you'll see it in mood changes, in their behaviors and things like that. So it would help to know that as well. And of course, using parental features and control and things like that, and on the phone as well. At times you could also, especially if your child is below 18 years, again, it depends on the setting. If you use a VPN to change your location, you could have a parental control access over your phone. There are some regions, depending on how your location are, where the application itself would not ask you that questions. But again, in more developed part of the world, once a child is creating a social media account and says, I'm 13 years, automatically it would ask for parental consent. So you would have that control as a parent and things like that. So you'll be able to regularly check what they are posting, who their friends are. And again, I hope that any parent on the call or that will watch this later will know that regularly checking and things like that it's not to give you the power to kind of say, hey, I know what you're telling your friend, I'm seizing the phone away from you. No, it's more like, okay, so I noticed that my child is sharing this pattern of content. How do I have a conversation in a way where my child would open up more, but also learn and not hide, because if they feel like you are threatening them or you're kind of invading their privacy in code, they can block you, or they can find other ways of sharing that information. They can share it through Snapchat that allows the information to vanish after 24 hours. They're sending it to different places that you wouldn't even know how to navigate all of those things as well. And again, as I said, that you need to build a trust and encourage your children to open up to you, to talk to you, to tell you if somebody's trying to abuse them or trying to harm them and things like that. And in terms of addressing cyberbullying, once you recognize the sign, you need to seek help, reach out to either a counselor, especially if it's a sextortion type of cyberbullying. The harm could live long. Even like the existence of the video and what that meant for the child and the fears and things like that. Once you recognize the sign, you need to ask for help. You can report it to the tech company to pull it down. But aside that, is there a local law in your country that addresses such issues? Is there an organization in your country that champions such an advocacy? What are the ways that you could give your child some level of emotional support whilst you physically try to pull down the video as well? Also, just again, like have a conversation with your child, like how does your child feel? Because again, in terms of the emotions and the overall damage it would do to the child to have the video out there and things like that. Their friends laughing at them, people using them as like an example of a bad example or a good example of a bad example, sort of things like that. It's not easy to do that. And also, again, for institutions, one of the things that I'm doing currently is to champion educational institutions, both primary and secondary and even university, to have like an ombudsman in the school where people could report like an abuse or theft or harassment or bullying to them. So if two children in school fall in love and do what they are not supposed to do, but create a video out of that, and one of the student is blackmailing the other, is there a space to report that in the school whilst the parent also take that up and things like that? And more importantly as well is the emotional support that is needed in that area. And finally, or almost finally, as a wrap up, it's always important. Jennifer shared some resources earlier. Hope we took note of that. It's really key, as well as other resources online. So the Internet Society has, as I said, the Encryption Coalition has a good resources online. UNESCO has a good resources online on their website that you could download as well. We also have like safer browsers, or you could allow safer browser options. Now Google have one step down where you could go in and put child protection into the system. They have YouTube for kids and things like that. You could enable those ones on the devices before you give to them. Encourage your children to know about literacy in general, not just digital or media literacy. There are over 8 different forms of literacies. They should know what each means and how well to use the platform, where to report and things like that as well. And of course, when you are choosing resources for your ward, you as the parent should also be involved in it. Like, what is my child being exposed to, and what is the platform being used for? And what are some of the content that they easily see as well? You can restrict pornography and even the ability for them to think to go to their website based on checking their digital footprints and things like that as well. I've spoken about this, so I'm going to like kind of skip that. But it's in terms of communication, how do we kind of foster communication? It's always important to create the space, be firm, but also understanding. Again, as I said, that in Generation Alpha, it's always hard for us. I remember how hard I felt my parents didn't understand my use of social media. They meant well, but I also just feel like they came from another era, which is not my era. So it's harder to be able to know that when they say stay away from the phone, they meant well and not harm. But also knowing that things have changed and I'm on social media, I could use it for good. You just have to guide me and mentor me or train me through that platform as well. Now, in conclusion, it's again that when it comes to parents understanding how the metaverse work and what it means to ensure child safety, it's an ongoing journey. There's a digital divide even between parents. We have parents that are well educated, know about these things. We also have parents who don't know about it at all. We can't treat those two generations or those two divide on one level. We need to take our time to analyze each level and treat them as it is. But it's an ongoing journey. It's not going to end after the webinar. It's actually starting after the webinar, now that we know how to go about it. Of course, we need to be updated with information. They say knowledge is power. If you don't know what is happening, you don't know what is happening. Not just about your country or your continent. Explore, find out what is happening in other part of the world, find out what technology is happening, what new technologies are coming in, how are they being used, is there any harm that is happening? Like even the AI devices, we've heard a lot about OpenAI, ChatGPT, we've heard a lot about DeepSeek, we've heard a lot about Quan One. There are over a zillion AI devices and tools that are coming, and social media platform, even Meta AI is there. Social media platform have incorporated AI into their thing. So now we are not just dealing with the harm, we are dealing with deepfake and fake news and all of that. It takes time and you need to know them and be updated. And again, it comes back to my main point. We are fighting new, in quote, demons in these generations. AI have come to add up onto it. you need to have to change the tactics of making sure that your child is safe online with all these new things that are coming as well. And also just like to foster a good, responsible tech habit among your children. Think about it, like weaning your child off phone for a long time, or even computers or gadgets for a long time. What does that mean for the closing the digital divide? Like your child could learn how to code, how to create an app at an early age. But then again, they are taking in trying to protect them or trying to make sure they are safe online. We take away all the gadget, and now they are 15 and 18. It's not too late, but they could have learned it at the age of 6 if then we kind of foster and a good tech use, and encourage them in those areas. I'm going to end here, or my slides end here, but I'll be glad to take any more questions and contributions if there is the need. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Tewodros. This is very interesting. It adds another dimension to the presentation made by Jennifer. So thank you very much. Yes, participants are posing some questions here and there. First, I will invite both of you to have some discussions on some, critical points, which I will introduce some of the questions with the thoughts I have, so that we can have a much deeper and wider discussion on the topic we have just discussed. Jennifer, are you there? Jennifer? Okay.
Sorry, I didn't get, is there a question?
No, we are just starting the discussion. Okay, I'm wondering,
Dr. Surat?
Yes.
I didn't get the question. I'm having, I think, challenges with my internet. Okay.
Okay, can you hear me now? Is that okay? You can hear me, yes?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. You were saying, very important point about the number of hours children are on social media, which you have described. They should not be exposed to such technologies as early as 3 years. Okay, they have to be exposed after that. So because it's not only the other factors, but they may feel that parents don't care about them. Yes, you have made that point, and that feels very good. But then what is there are situations, especially in developing countries like Ethiopia, Kenya, Ghana, okay, in most of Africa and the Far East, children may not get exposure to digital technology, and I'm wondering, how is there mechanism, how to introduce older, children who are in the, the age of like 7, 8, 10, okay, to introduce this digital world? Is there, a special mechanism or thoughts that you can have from different research? What is the mechanisms we have to introduce them, for the first time? If they were children and seeing, these gadgets their elders are using, that will be very easy, and they are, eager to touch it, to play with it. But those who don't have those opportunity and come to the exposure of such technology and gadgets, what are, the thoughts? What are the, the techniques we have to introduce these tools and platforms for such children? This one is one of the questions raised by one of our participants. So Jennifer, may go first.
I think Jennifer has dropped out. Her internet has an issue.
Okay, so Tewodros may reflect.
Yeah, so just so if I get it right, we are answering how children that are older from 7 and above could be introduced to digital literacy. That is it.
Yeah.
So I think, first of all, 7 years is not that old, actually. looking at developing world in Africa, 7 years is not old. It's actually a good time to introduce your children to digital literacy. And you can start first from the school. If their school have, I don't know about other countries, but I know in Ghana, in primary schools, we have the Digital Literacy Club, and then the Writers and Debaters Club and things like that. So you can first of all find out from your child's school, or even if there is an NGO, like, because we also have non-government organizations that champion digital literacy trainings and things like that. So find out from your country or your region or even your community if there is any club like that. That is one. Secondly, if you have a computer, a desktop computer, or you have an internet cafe, you can also an internet cafe. I don't know if internet cafe still exists, but some communities may still have internet cafes or a desktop computer. You as the parent. So again, this is where your role as the parent will come in, because at that point, for example, if you go to internet cafe, no, everybody's there to do their own thing. Nobody will teach your child, but it will be your role to take some classes and then teach your child through that. But I think the first entry gate would be from school. Where most schools have computer lab, they do ICT courses. So that is the first step to go through that. And now things are changing. Again, forgive me if I'm not extremely knowledgeable about the countries that everybody's coming from, but I know from Ghana, the Ministry of ICT actually went on a whole rebranding and project where all schools must teach some level of coding, where they have boot camps during vacation, where children they have from 5 to 8 and then 9 to, so they have like the different age group all the way to 15, where they take them through coding. Actually, it's part of the ICT. So when you're in school, you have 1 hour for ICT. You first of all learn how to type and things like that, the coding and all of that. And then we have like AWO, which is championing child safety online with their organization, doing training on safety tools and things like that. So the school is the first entry, but also the parents will be the second entry as well. And then the peers come in. That's also always a good way, peer learning way, when children are learning from their friend, especially. It's easier in that way, because it's like in terms of age gap, we are on the same level. So also learning from their peers would help. But parents would play a critical role in that area, where like what are they learning together? Is there like a training session that I have to go through as well? Is there an organization? They could even reach out to ISOC Chapter or any other organization and say, hey, can you provide training for this group of people in our community? Or ISOC or any NGO could take it as part of their corporate social responsibility and say, like, we are going to provide digital literacy training and how to use computers and the safety tools in this particular community as part of our CSR, and things. I feel like those things should help. And of course, as I wrap up, so I see Jen from the court to take over from that side as well. It would be practically, for me, some of the things we would only have to try to see if it works. It may work in Ghana, it may work in the US, it may work here, but looking at the particular situation in your community, like, do we even have internet access in our community? That is one. If we don't, we need to backtrack and start from, how do we get internet access? Then how do we teach them how to use the code, the content and things like that, but overall, schools and peers and parents are the steps to get through that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Tewodros. Jennifer, are you?
Yes, I'm back. Sorry, I'm using my phone. This been deep in the internet. Okay. So to answer your question, when the way you teach your child to potty train, the way you teach your child when you're weaning your child from milk to food, it's the same way you teach your child on how to navigate the digital space. Okay, you start from simple, going to complex. Okay, so and I know all of us are from Africa. We all have these rites of passage of different levels. Like, for example, when you're weaning a child from milk to hard food, you start with milk, and then probably you go to cow milk, or maybe you go to formula, and then you porridge, and then you continue increasing the heaviness of the food. The same as potty training, you start with maybe they're not using the pot itself towards, and then till now they're probably able to use the toilet. So for the digital space, you start with simple things. For example, they're very simple games. So you teach them from the beginning the benefits of technology, okay? So when they are older, when they come across negativity, they will not demonize the whole thing, but they will come back and remember there's some amazing parts of technology that are good, okay? Teach them this is how you use, but remember they're bad and they're good actors in the technology. Again, I said in my slides, values. Be nice. So the way you teach your child, use the word please. Okay, don't speak to strangers. Don't speak bad. Don't be negative. Okay, if you feel unsafe, come to me. Okay, like when your child is younger, like 2-3-year-olds, when they get hurt, they come rushing to mommy. I am hurt. Okay, can they? When they get hurt online, can they come to you? So be that the principles, the players is principles. Like from the beginning of it's little by little, be little by little. Don't throw your child into the deep end of TikTok when your child does not know how to be safe on I don't know if Angry Birds still exists today. Okay. If they don't know how to navigate the Angry Birds, or then they should not be on TikTok. Okay. And anyway, TikTok, no one below the age of 13 should be on TikTok. So it should be little by little. Okay. Teach them, give them, watch YouTube, or YouTube Kids. What don't you like about this video? Or these guys are using bad language. Okay. Why are they using, does that child knows that they are using bad language? Because you taught them at home without the internet that there's bad language and there's good language. Okay, so they're using the same principle back then, and then come up with a policy or a contract. Okay, and the rules, what the do's and the don'ts of the internet, and what to do. Like for example, for me, when I was with my child, my children, I delayed as much as possible giving them phones. But they had like tablets, but they knew you can't use like a tablet for more than 1 hour. And you only use tablets on Fridays after school. You can't like, it's actually we started with TV, not even tablets, TV. We don't do TV during the weekdays. You do TV on Friday and after you have finished your homework. Okay. And then on Sunday, no TV after 7 o'clock because you need to be ready for school the following day. So have rules like that. But again, different age groups, different rules. Okay, for 0 to 3-year-olds, I would recommend don't give children any gadget. Let them use the gadgets with you, and then graduate, increase their responsibility and the training as the child grows. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jennifer and Tewodros. This is very interesting and eye-opening discussion. I have another question to pose to you, both of you. When in your presentation, Jennifer, you touched the point of competition that is being escalated on the online platforms. That touched me because I have two children, a 7-year-old and 11. And at the beginning, all children are lovely. There is no, competition. They just share whatever they have. And after starting school, they start, who finishes their food first, who finishes their classwork first. Those competitions goes to some negativities, which I always wonder how I should, tame down that one, so that in their real life, they have to identify what they need and they have to grab it, safely and in decent way. So how do we, control some, emotions, negative values, that may harm when they are grown up, when they are establishing family, when they are the community somewhere else, not in our family, definitely in our community, as Tewodros says. So how do we, tame down those negativities that are acquiring online, like negative competitions? Okay, so what are the tips you can give?
Thank you so much for that question. One, competition is not bad if it's not harming someone, because it's our innate. It's been built innately. That's how we were crafted and how God created us. And competition is a form of motivation to move to the next stage. Okay, so what, for me as a parent, I have 2 children, and that happens a lot, is checking are we benefiting? So we are fighting over this, or we are competing. How are we going to benefit out of this? Okay, how are you benefiting from this? Is there something that you're going to earn? Is there a skill that you're going to earn? Okay, and then teaching the children that it is okay not to win all the time. Failure and losing is part of life. Okay, so your brother was number 1, you are number 3. It is fine. There's nothing wrong with you. Okay, you are accepting to fail is part of life, because I think we teach our children to win. We teach them not to fail. So when in reality they face failure, it beats them up, or they lose something, they feel life is coming to an end. So it's teaching them, you allow the competition to go on, and then have a conversation about winning and losing, and that we should not always aim to win, because we are built up differently. We have different talents, and my talent and yours are different. I'll give you an example. I have 2 children. My daughter is very academic. She loves math. She loves physics. She aces in all that. My son, on the other side, he's an artist. He's creative. He does amazing painting, and he's really, really talented when it comes to things that he can do with his sons, like creating stuff. So my daughter will come at home, Mommy, I have gotten A's in math. And my son goes like, Mommy, I didn't get it. But can your sister paint? Your sister cannot paint anything or draw anything to save her life. So you're showing that, yes, she is good in math, but you're also good in painting. Okay, the fact that she's good in math does not mean that she's also good in painting. So it's just encouraging your children, showing them that they have different talents, and showing those talents up, not competing. Yes, you can eat faster than yourself, but than me. Yes, probably older than me, but that does not mean that the food is different. We are going to be filled at the same time. Failure is part of life. That is very important. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Tewodros, you would like to reflect on this?
I think all has been said, but I just wanted to add up to say, first of all, again, that failure is another way of doing something. Like there are so many, again, we've heard great inventions about the light bulb, about the internet, when you hear Vincent talk about how the whole World Wide Web was formed and things like that. It wasn't just at one attempt. It's just a reminder that, okay, approach 1 didn't work, so which other way would work, when you see like that. Also, like, again, I think as Jennifer was talking, I was like, okay, I'm sure I'm like a daughter. I'm those ones. I have 2 brothers. Like, I come back home with 98 and I'm so sad, and like, if I don't get the first in my class, it's like, it's also good. And then my brother is like, okay, at least I'm not the last. Like, maybe we are 30 in a class, I'm 29. So it's okay, like, there's somebody behind me. And now seeing how, like, over time, my parents say, like, it doesn't really matter, like, we both have different strengths. I'm good in this, my brother is good in that. Let's merge our strengths together. And that helped actually me build bond with my siblings. And I mean, up to this age, it's like when it comes to like hard stuff, like I know who to call, and when they need help, they come to me. So we are working in synergy. Like no human being, I stand to be corrected, but it's only few people that have the highest IQ. Even with those, they also have their issues. So failure, I define it as another way of not being able to do something or exploring it, and also working together as siblings, synergy. Once you're from the same parent, or even just like friends, like there's no competition. Like the world is big for everybody to have a place. And I think teaching children at an early age that there is no competition, like everybody have a space to shine, helps, because people grow up with that issue of like, I need to do better than my peers, and if I'm not doing well, nobody can do well. Like the world is big enough for everyone, even if we are all working on the same topic, the same thing. Your angle and even the way you articulate it is different. So teaching children that you don't need to compete with your sibling. You can actually coexist and work together and build something better. And even like as Christians, the Bible says like when two people work together, you put to flight more than just one person. So like kind of exploring those also help or would help actually.
Okay, thank you very much. That is insightful. Maybe the last question as a panel discussion. I'm wondering, why we were trying to bring Mr. Tewodros from our ministry offices, who is working on some platform for children, safety and protection, where to contextualize it. Okay. Unfortunately, have some problem. He didn't come. We'll reach out to him after the incident, and we will share the local context. But I'm wondering, yes, there are, so many issues we are hearing on news, social media, that children are, suicidal, getting suicidal and becoming mentally ill. And yes, I know with my previous research on the UNESCO in the assessment of internet development in Ethiopia, there are platforms locally here in Ethiopia, for example, under the Federal Police Department, where someone can report cyberbullying, for example, online crime or something like that. That can be personal or financial or whatever. So, okay, it is reported. Then do we have, a system or institute or professionals who can treat, mentally ill children who are exposed through this online, bullying or harassment or whatever? Do we? I don't know. You can share, and that will be one thing we can do in the future, I think. So you can share, both of you, from your experiences. I know, Tewodros, you are from Ghana. Whether it's something like that is there in Ghana. Now you are in the USA. If you have something, information about this in US, and Jennifer, you are in Kenya, from Kenya, and you have exposures globally. So please share your ideas on these topics.
I mean, I can start. I think on top of my head, honestly, I haven't heard of a specific institution or organization that are specifically for children. However, I know that in the US, one of the things that I have to quickly adjust to and learn is therapy is really encouraged among young people a lot. So there is no, like, even when you go to the hospital, like they would ask, like, after taking care of you, like the main reason why they would ask you, are you safe at home or on the internet? Do you need a therapy? And they have resources, like they have the number to call, even like for anyone traveling through the US embassy. Once they even the US embassy in your home country have those resources when you get there. So that I know of. It's easy. You call 911 and then they put you straight into and you tell them you are in trouble and you need, either they'll ask like, is it police trouble, or the mental? And if it's mental, they would connect you to another department and they schedule therapy for you. So those things are easy. I have gone through not gone through them, but I have seen people go through them, and I've done use cases. I know people personally who had, so it's easier. But in Ghana, to the best of my knowledge, no, I'm not aware of any. I know natural, like institutions like hospitals have counseling departments. I know universities have counseling departments. At least my university University of Ghana has, where students are encouraged to go, but it's not as accessible. And one of the things that I want to put out there is also the culture that surrounds seeking for help. Like, I ask my student, like, do you need help? You're not doing well in school. Like, do you want to speak to a counselor? It's like, oh, therapy is for mad people. Like, we don't even want to hear therapy, you know? So it's the culture of like, I don't want to seek help. Or if I go and tell my friend I'm seeing a therapist because I've been abused online and I need somebody to talk to outside my parents, it will look like I'm going mad, or like, you know, things like that it play a role. Like, whilst in the US and even in the UK, like, we are mostly encouraged to speak up. Even like if your parents are abusing at home, you talk about it. But here, I don't know how much it is. And in Ghana, as I said specifically, I don't know any that is just geared towards that. However, I know institutions have counseling departments and things like that. And people are naturally encouraged to go, but the patronization is not as high as as high as it could be. Yeah.
Thank you, Jennifer. Tewodros, sorry. Jennifer, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. So
please.
There are quite a number of tools that parents can be able to access to get mental health support. Sorry about that. I'm using my phone, so people are calling. We have quite a number of tools that parents can be able to use for mental health support. For example, 116, I think it's accessible. I think there's 116 in Ethiopia. If you can go online and look for 116, it's a support line. But also, there's so many, like in Ethiopia, I know quite a number of organizations that are supporting, for example, TDH, Tewodros, they are supporting children, mental health issues when it comes to online safety, and they have counseling services. Internet Watch Foundation, they also provide support in Hope. So there are quite a number of, if you go online, you'll find a lot of support that is providing mental health support for children who have gone through issues to do with online harm. So you can also reach out to us, like Mtoto News, mtotonews.com, info@mtotonews.com, and we can link you up to the nearest service provider. We have like a directory. We can connect you to the nearest service provider to help you get support for if your child is having a mental health issue in association with the internet. Yes, so there are quite a number of tools that parents can be able to use. Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much, Jennifer. Thank you for the tools you have mentioned, and thank you, Tewodros, for the interesting points you have raised. Now we will go for the Q&A. I have seen some questions from participants. Enoch may forward it to me. I have captured a couple of them from Kedus Danyacho. I'm not sure whether it's he or she, Kedus Danyacho. Parental guide on telecom systems to filter and control harmful content. Is that possible, or why don't we do that? He said. Do you have any reflection on that? Is there any, experience throughout the globe? That this parental control and filtering, harmful content can be introduced in the telecom systems in the first place. There can be, so many human rights issues for adults, for instance. But he raised this, critical point, which can have many different dimensions.
On parental controls, right now the responsibility has been put on parents and service and internet service providers like our TikToks and Facebook and do that, parental control, which is it's not hard to install on your child's phone. The easiest one, which I feel works for all platforms, because for TikTok, they'll just work on TikTok. Facebook, they'll just work on Facebook. But when you use Google parental, it's called Family Link. It works on all the platforms. So you can be able to control all the platforms using Family Link. Let me see if I can be able to share the link. But this is, you have to have a Gmail account, you and your child. And then if your child buys a phone, or you buy your child a phone, you make sure that they use the email address that you know, and then you can link the two emails. So as soon as you link the two emails, you can be able to control your child's phone using your phone. Okay, so it becomes very easy for that. So I recommend Family Link, but there are others. I just recommend Family Link because I feel Family Link covers all platforms. But there are other solutions out there. But for me, I always recommend. I have it actually. I have one on my. I just wanted to share the link on the chat, so that if you're there, you can be able to install for your child. Just give me a second because I don't want to. So I'm just sharing it on the chat.
Okay.
That's the chat. Where is the chat? So Family Link, it's easy. So, but it's an app that you install on your child's phone and your own phone, and you can be able, like for me, I'm able to set time for my child, what time they need to sleep. Like Mondays to Fridays, she cannot use the phone after 9 o'clock because she needs to be in bed. And then she can't use the phone before 6 o'clock when she's waking up to go to school. So basically, she cannot use the phone at night. And then you can be able to switch off the phone from wherever you are. So you can be able to switch off the phone yourself from wherever you are as a parent. You can be able to disallow apps for the child to use. You can enable others and you can disallow others. You can be able to block some apps. So it's a very good platform which works for all platforms. Yeah. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do you have something to say, Tewodros? Thank you. Basically, this Family Link, I also use it for my children using tablets, not on phones actually. And our participant association also forwarded, you can use, on mobile devices, especially Android, digital well-being and parental control, which we can configure and use it. Thank you very much for the reflection. Marek, Ambelu and Dawit, they asked one question, which is about screen time control. So they said, do we have, one of them said, I have a problem to control my time online. Okay, so do we have a tool that can monitor our online presence and tell us this much we have spent or something like that, so that we can control our service and switch something offline? Do you have some tools like that?
I know that for iOS, when you go into your setting and you go to accessibility, you should be able to set your time for your social media. It's easy. And also at the end of the day, if you allow for summary, also in your settings, like the app setting, when you go to setting, I think display accessibility, I could look for those steps and add it to my final slide and share, but you should be able to, there are two ways. You could ask them to give you a summary of how much time you spend on each app. So it will tell you in a day, you spend 6 hours, 7 hours in the app. And then it would also ask you if you want to set time limit. So once you allow time limit, they'll ask you how many hours you want to set. So then you will determine. And automatically, once you set 1 hour or 2 hours, on the apps, they would also ask you which of the apps. So you have to choose Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, Blue Sky, all of that, Snapchat, and the rest. Once the 2-hour you set is up, the application will automatically shut off. Whatever even if you were typing something, the app will go off. Also, just want to add that in as much as we have so many tools, it's also self-disciplined to do it, because you can always go back into the system and readjust the time, but you also have to be determined. It's also like it's in any form of addiction. It's not just social media, like any form of addiction. To come off the addiction, you need to deny yourself of the thing. So in medical treatment, you see when they are trying to like take somebody off a drug, they deny the person that, and the drug.
This might answer your question.
Hey Alexa, turn off. Sorry. And then it's when you are taking
The flow.
Sorry, my smart home is answering the question. So it's like when you take yourself off it, you have to learn to go through it. So again, you can do that. Maybe somebody else could help me, but I'm not very. I don't know much about the Android system of automatically doing it up in the system, but I'm sure there is a way. And of course, I can find out more of that and share. But again, in iOS, you can do that on all your iOS devices, and it syncs across your time, and so you would be able to do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Tewodros. Henok, is there any more question?
So as I think Tewodros has said, there for Family Link, you can be able to set up time for your kids, like screen time. You can put 30 minutes, 1 hour, and time out. For Android, is the same. So Android has, when you go to your settings, you can be able to go and go under digital well-being. Under digital well-being, you can check how much time you're spending and on which app. And then you can set a limit for each app, how much time you want to spend. So it is, you can be able to set up the time that you want to spend for each app. So it is easy, but also there are other apps that you can be able to put on your phone that switches your phone off. It only allows calls. Like, for example, you can only be called, but you cannot access any phone, any app, and you cannot deactivate it. So if you say my phone goes off at 9 o'clock, it will switch off your phone at 9 o'clock, and it will switch on the time you say you want to switch it on. And then it will send like a message to people who are looking for you saying that you're not available, you'll be available the following day. So there are quite a number of tools that you can be able to use that to support your digital well-being. Yeah.
Thank you, Jennifer. I think we are going too much on time. I have to thank Jennifer and Tewodros for your very interesting, insightful, technically, interesting presentations and responses for the questions we have raised and discussed. Thank you very much. We have so many takeaways as Internet Society Chapter and as a community. I think we have to reach out to parents who, yes, have these gadgets almost 24/7 on their hands, and they have to know how to use it, not only for themselves, but how to introduce and control their children, in this digital world. Because as Jennifer said, we cannot prohibit our children not to use it. I don't think that would be right, as she said. So we have to know how to introduce, control, and monitor their online presence, because it is too late, okay, before it comes to addiction or other problems. So that will be one takeaway from our side, and I hope Jennifer will share us the book when it is published, and I wish it will be published soon. So we will also collaborate on announcing and sharing also in our platforms. So I thank all the participants for their active participation. They have raised so many questions and share insights through the Q&A and the chat platforms. So thank you very much. Thank you. I hope we'll meet soon physically. Thank you, Jennifer and Tewodros.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.